Hello, welcome to the Safe Space Podcast, the place where we're using our spark to unite our allies. We are your hosts. My name is Marcella.
And I'm Brittany.
All right, welcome back for episode 4. And as I was writing this part of the script, it was January 20th, 2025, which was Inauguration Day. Trump was officially sworn into office as the next president, and already there were some pretty scary, intense changes that took place.
What morbidly perfect timing, too, considering the topic of this episode is focusing on LGBTQ plus rights. Trump has repealed many executive orders promoting LGBTQ plus equality and has issued new ones, basically stating that there are only 2 genders and ending government diversity programs. He has also signed an order stating that every person in the gender that they are assigned at their time of conception, if any of you know basic biology, each and every fetus actually starts out in the womb as a female, meaning that at the time of conception, everyone is a female, which also mean that he's stating males do not exist and men are actually transgender females.
This makes me laugh every time because, seeing that and knowing that he signed that, not understanding that that is scientifically and biologically, not how that works, it makes me laugh every time. He's so dumb.
So dumb. It doesn't matter that you only think there's 2 genders. It's not true.
No, it's he's totally forgetting about intersex people. Last night you were talking about how some people will be born as female, but then they'll have the male genitalia, or vice versa, or sometimes they'll have both genitalia.
Exactly, and even females with extra testosterone, they don't have another part or anything, but I mean, they're still female.
Yeah, and people should be able to identify as whoever they want to identify as. That's not anybody else's problem or anybody else's concern.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt anyone. Mind your business. I mean, I don't go around wondering what's in everybody's pants. It's not my first thought.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. And that's the whole thing about bathrooms too, wanting people to use the bathroom of whatever gender they were at birth. That's so, for transgender people, that's so uncomfortable. And it's not gonna, they want to do it or whatever to protect, they're saying they're doing it to protect women in the women's restrooms or whatever. That's not true. That's not what you're doing it for. You're just doing it to be discriminatory.
Exactly, and control. It's about control.
Yes. Yeah. And there's so many times they always bring up the made up issue that the transgender people that are going into these bathrooms are trying to harass women or sexually abuse women in a restroom or whatever. I have never seen, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but I have never seen or heard of a case where it's been a transgender person or someone part of this community. It's always been straight males that are hiding in women's bathrooms trying to attack them.
Yeah, exactly. And just, even if there's just one case, that doesn't make all transgender or all LGBTQ people that way.
No. And we kind of mentioned the same thing in one of the previous episodes about immigration too. Just because some immigrants might actually be criminals, might actually be doing, these horrible things, that doesn't mean that every single immigrant that comes here legally or illegally is also a criminal and also doing those horrible things. You can't use one person to put the blame on everybody. That's just not how it works.
Yeah, and that's exactly how at least the majority of the right sees it is, oh, there was one pervert in that community, they must all be perverts. Like, no.
Yeah. No. No. Trump's long-standing hatred for the LGBTQ community has definitely reached a new and terrifying level, and it literally, at the time of writing the script, had just been a few hours. During his campaign for his second presidency, he claimed that he would work to rescind federal policies that protected the LGBTQ community and prohibited discrimination. And he's already, like, some of the things that were brought to a judge, I think, were turned away, thankfully. But there was something, I just read about it earlier today. It was something about, I can't remember what it was now, but something that he signed was brought to a judge, and the judge like shot it down immediately. It was like, this is ridiculous. Like, you can't do that. Thankfully, somebody has some sense and is telling him to, like, that he can't do certain things. But it's just still so ridiculous that he and other people think this way.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Like, just human to human, like, how could you want such chaos and just overall terribleness for another human?
Yeah. I just don't get it.
With these policies being rescinded, it allows state and local governments, as well as private organizations, to allow and even perpetuate discrimination against the LGBTQ plus community. This can also mean that their right to protection against discrimination is stripped for housing, employment, education, healthcare, and a wide range of federal government assistance. If you didn't understand why people were so scared for a second Trump presidency, I really hope that this episode and the whole podcast will show you exactly why. Because things are already happening in a terrifying way.
I remembered what it was. It was something about employment. The judge turned it away because he wanted to be able to fire people that were part of the LGBTQ plus community. Mm-hmm. He wanted jobs to be able to fire them because of being in that community. And it was the judge that said, no, you can't do that because that can count as sex discrimination, which is illegal. You're not doing that.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I was like, yes.
Yeah. Like, thank God. But even then, that's still just like one thing out of the hundreds of others. During Biden's presidency, people were given the option to put a gender-neutral term on their passports in the form of the letter X. With new decrees that Trump has signed stating that there are only two genders, this option will be removed. He's also making it a requirement for all official documents to say sex rather than gender, which I don't really get, like, why that's important to make that transition.
I don't know. Why is that an issue?
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently it's important to some people.
It shouldn't be. There's bigger problems.
Yeah. And while these actions may not take immediate effect, they are extremely damaging to this community, threatening their well-being and their livelihoods. The Human Rights Campaign has stated that they are dedicated to fighting for these rights by pushing back in the courts, in Congress, and in the streets. And I mentioned this when we tried to record last night, too, that I think it's very important for people in communities all over to do the same thing, to try and get involved in some way and stand up for friends, neighbors, family, people in your community. Like, people should really be coming together and helping each other right now.
Yeah, we should. I think any small way, like you were saying yesterday, even protesting, like obviously safe and not violent protesting.
Right.
But even that, I just applied to volunteer for access, and it's a very small part, but it's somewhere like to start.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere, and that's kind of like what we're doing with this podcast too. Is I want to like keep bringing that up to people. Is the whole point of this podcast is to spread knowledge, spread awareness, and try to help people, try to speak up for people who maybe can't speak up.
Right, and even have a like safe space, like even if you don't engage, like if you're just listening, that can be a lot for some people.
Yeah, just listening, hearing other people's stories, hearing experiences, listening to like the history of how things have worked and how things have gone on, and I feel like that could be extremely helpful for some people. And that is the point of like getting into this, but also wanting to help our communities in kind of a loud way.
And I want to highlight what you already said about like not only getting closer to people in your community, but checking them on certain things, you know, and not in a bad way, but if you believe something that's harmful to someone else, to check that person.
Yeah. We actually had, I saw a post, I think it was yesterday, that said immigration was coming through my city and that they were spotted at some places. So I was like, oh shit, that's really fucking scary. Like, we have a lot of people that come into the shop, and it makes me wonder, like, what if ICE were to come into the shop and, like, you know, I've been watching all these videos on like what to do if ICE comes into like a building or somewhere where you work, and if you're the manager, like what you can say, and then tell everybody like, you know, they don't have to say anything, to talk to a lawyer, you know, stuff like that. So I'm kind of preparing a little bit to have some of those conversations, and it's really unfortunate to like think that that might be happening.
It's terrifying really, too.
It is. It's really scary, and it makes me fear for not only myself, just because like I hate confrontations, and that's like really scary, but also it just makes me fear for like the people in the community.
And I read, I don't know how true it is, but I read that they were doing it without warrants, so it's illegal.
I've seen that they're trying to do it without warrants, but then they're also like lying and saying that they have a warrant and like showing other official documents that aren't warrants. And then sometimes like they might have a warrant, but it has to be if it's not signed by a judge, like they still can't search. So, but they're showing people warrants that aren't signed by judges as like, you know, trying to let them come into their homes or whatever. And like that's so insane.
That's all part of like putting fear into people so they'll do what they want.
And we'll definitely have to do a part 2 on the discrimination and immigration episode, because there's so much more that we can go into with like what ICE is doing now.
There really is, like, not LGBTQ related for this one, but even the Native Americans are being brought into this now.
Yeah, and I think that was also turned away, I'm pretty sure, but like, oh my god, still, even the fact that that was brought up is insane.
Right? I just don't understand.
I don't either.
There are so many other things in this country that need to be fixed, and this is not one of them. The entire campaign was based on discrimination of people of color and of the LGBTQ plus community. I cannot fathom thinking that there is a bigger issue than school shootings or terrorism from our own American people. The LGBTQ community is already at much higher risk of discrimination, and with the actions that Trump has taken, It opens them up to even more hatred.
I just wanted to Google really quick how many school shootings there have been in 2025, because I'm pretty sure, I think it's over 20. I can't find it. I don't want to take too long to search for it. There's been, for considering we're 28 days into the year, there's been way too many already.
Yes. One is too many.
Yeah. And I feel like that should be a much bigger issue than the genitalia that is in someone's pants.
Seriously, though, I don't understand how preparing kids with bulletproof backpacks and, like, how to play dead and all this other crap that they're having to learn now is not more important. I don't get it. Whiny bitches with their taking your guns away. No, we're not.
No, and that's not what we want. That's not the point of gun control and stricter laws. It's not to take guns away. It's to make sure that the people who are buying guns are mentally stable enough to handle having a gun.
I don't know if you've heard this one before, but people that think their guns are going to be taken away like to describe America as communist, basically, because of that. And it's fucking ridiculous.
Dude, no. That's not how that works.
Not at all. We literally just want better gun control so kids can stop dying.
Yeah, and there's so many other countries that have like better gun control, better gun laws that do have less, if any, mass shootings or school shootings. So, like, why aren't we taking care of this problem? Why are we focusing on the transgender people who are just living their lives?
It's right out of Hitler's playbook, basically. It's how he started doing stuff, too.
Yeah, it's definitely very similar. Very similar, and that's real scary.
Yeah, he just did it with the Jews instead.
Mm-hmm. And this community has been fighting for their rights since the 1920s, at the very least. There's probably more undocumented things that have gone on before then. This was the earliest that I could find, one of the earliest. Mm-hmm. And it was around that time that the first documented LGBTQ plus rights organization was created. And Henry Gerber would be the man to make this organization happen in 1924. So almost exactly 100 years ago. This would be the first of its kind in the US. However, just 1 year later, in 1925, Henry's organization would be raided and disbanded by the police. Go figure.
Mm-hmm.
In 1925, an author by the name of Radcliffe Hall was stirring up controversy around her when she wrote her lesbian-themed novel, The Well of Loneliness. And I didn't really do much research into that exactly, or what it was about or anything, but it just seems like the controversy was that she wrote a novel about lesbians.
Yeah, and they were mad about that.
Yeah. I kind of want to read the book, to see what it is.
Me too.
See what everybody was so mad about.
I'll never get that, though. It's like someone reading a book isn't just going to turn gay because they read some book with characters that were gay in it. There's plenty of movies and books out there with straight couples, and you don't see the gay people turning straight, do you?
No, and it's... I know we brought this up last night, too. It's like they probably want nothing to do with the straight people most of the time. I don't want anything to do with straight people most of the time.
That's what I was gonna say. It really gets me, though. I'm pansexual. I don't give a shit what's in your pants. That's not important to me.
Yeah. I say I'm bisexual, but I guess that doesn't, I don't really care what's in somebody's pants either. Like, it doesn't affect me anyway. It doesn't change my life.
It doesn't matter. Like,
No. No.
you're still gonna have some fun time either way if that's your thing.
Yeah.
In the 1940s, the Nazis would brand the gay men being held in their concentration camps by sewing a pink triangle on their clothing. This very same symbol was also given to sexual predators.
Boo.
Since then, there have been many people and organizations that have tried to fight for the rights of people like them. It has been over 100 years, and people are continuing to fight for the rights of people in the LGBTQ plus community. With the executive orders that have been signed recently, the U.S. is essentially taking a step back in time and allowing people to discriminate against and deny services to other human beings merely for their sexual orientation.
I never understood where the correlation between this community and sexual predators started. I feel like there probably was a case sometime in the past where it was like, this person's a sexual predator and also happens to be gay or whatever, lesbian, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And people took that and just ran with it. And like, it's like we were saying earlier, even though there might be a few people that are sexual predators in that community, that does not mean that the entirety of that community is all sexual predators.
Right, there will always be an exception, and that doesn't mean the whole group or whatever you want to label the group as. It's gonna be the same thing.
Yeah, you can't blame the whole for the one.
No, you cannot.
It's just not. It's not how any of this works. It doesn't work this way.
I feel like so many people have been, I don't want to say brainwashed, but like programmed to believe that that's what it is, even though it isn't.
Yeah, sometimes I just want to like grab people by the shoulders and like shake them. I'm like, why are you so stupid?
Like, literally, it doesn't affect you. Just leave it alone. If you don't like gay people, stay away from them. They probably want you to stay away.
Right? If you don't like gay marriage, don't get gay married. I just don't understand how some people are so pressed over it when it doesn't affect anybody.
It's kind of so superficial, too. Like, not the things that people go through with this, but like the fact that people care about that stuff. Yeah. Sex, race, any of it.
Right. I'll never understand. I feel like I say this at least 5 times in every episode is I'll never understand.
Yeah, I literally can't comprehend. I don't want to comprehend.
No, I don't want to understand anything I do want to understand things he's trying to do because like obviously I want to keep up on like what's happening, but at the same time I can't understand how he thinks it's right, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you want to learn it. I do too. I want to know what's going on, what we should all know.
Yeah, it's just like, make it make sense, dude. You don't make any sense right now.
I just don't want to comprehend that kind of thinking. Like, how could you even think like that?
It hurts. It hurts me to try and think why he thinks the things that he does are okay.
Even the gender thing, it's like, just because you don't like how it is, that there's more than two.
You can't stop that. Like, people are born different all the time. Like, you can't just magically take intersex people away.
No, it's gonna happen regardless if you like it or not.
Oh my god, dude. Not only have they been fighting for basic rights, they have also been fighting to be able to play in sports. And doing this part of the research is really what got me fired up. I was like shaking because I was so angry reading some of these sites.
I bet.
In 1938, Dora, I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong. I think it's Rajen,
Mm-hmm.
a German high jumper, was arrested when it was found out that they had intersex genitalia. That was it. That was what they were arrested for.
Wow.
Following this arrest, Dora was barred from competitions and eventually was withdrawn. So she couldn't even compete anymore.
That's so fucking sad.
Yeah. Literally arrested for having intersex genitalia and then barred from competing in sports. I'm pretty sure this was for the Olympics, too.
Jeez.
Yeah. This was someone who was a professional athlete who had won awards, and simply due to her genitalia, she was barred and withdrawn and had to return her awards. For her genitalia, dude, they I don't even know how they found out, but when they did, they arrested her, stopped her from competing, and took her awards away.
It makes me mad.
I was livid reading that. Like, how is that okay? I hope eventually they gave some of them back, or like I hope they did something to like rectify that.
Right, or even like let her start competing again, something. I mean, you can't get back that time or anything.
No, or at least did something in her honor, because this was a long time ago. This was 1938. So, did something in her honor, like gave her awards in her honor, or like did something just to rectify that, because that is so unjustified.
That's so wrong. Why can't we like arrest the people looking at people's fucking genitalia?
Right? Why is that not being questioned? Why is that necessary? Why do we have to look at that?
So focused on what's in people's pants. Like, dude, it doesn't matter.
No, you're focusing on the wrong thing.
In 1968, the International Olympic Committee proposed a mandated sex testing for all of their female competitors. They justified this testing by saying that it would help to prevent male athletes disguising as women and competing in women's sports, giving themselves an unfair advantage. These athletes would have to stand naked in front of a panel of doctors and have their genitalia examined. Wow, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm. Disgusting.
This, of course, was offensive to female athletes and made it harder for transgender women to be involved in these sports. It wasn't until 1999 that the gender sex testing was abolished by the IOC. That's just ridiculous. Like, why do you need to be examined in front of all these people?
Right? 1999. They were doing that up until 1999. That's not that long ago.
How many people really pretended to be a female? Come on.
Right? I bet you the number's 0.
Right? And even if it is like one or a handful of people, again, that's not everybody.
No. And it's the same thing with the bathrooms, dude. Like, no one is pretending to be a female to get into the bathrooms. It's transgender females using the bathrooms that they should be using. I was just going to say, it's the ones that are sneaking into the bathrooms, the ones that women are actually worried about is the straight men coming in there. I'm not worried about a transgender female in there. I don't give a fuck. I don't even know if the other females in there are transgender because I'm not looking at their fucking genitalia to make sure.
Right, because it doesn't matter. And typically, it's like you said, it's going to be the white males that want to get in there and do weird stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and I keep thinking of this video that I saw like months ago. This little girl was going into a bathroom by herself, and her dad was behind her, like making sure she was, okay getting into the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And like a couple seconds after starting the video, like the girl walks into the bathroom, and this adult man comes walking out of the women's bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's who we're worried about. We're worried about the adult males.
Yeah, but they're too busy pointing the blame on other people because it's them.
You know what's funny too is it's the adult males that are trying to do this, that are trying to prevent transgender people from being who they are. And it's like, we're not worried about them. The call is coming from inside the house, dude. We're worried about you.
Mm-hmm. The problem is they don't believe that.
No, because they're all high and mighty.
And the only ones that should exist, don't you know?
Mm-hmm. Right? Just because men are so great. Shortly after the sex testing was abolished in the year 2000, the Women's Sports Foundation had begun a project to eliminate homophobia in sports. This project is still ongoing today, and they are fundraising and helping to support the dreams of athletes. And unfortunately, there is still a lot of hate and discrimination that's going on as well. Throughout history, many LGBTQ plus people have been barred from sports or even fired from coaching positions due to their coworkers suspecting or not liking the fact that they are gay, lesbian, transgender, or intersex individuals. It wasn't until 2020 that the IOC released a consensus statement stating that sport governing bodies have a legal requirement to prevent homophobia towards athletes. 2020. That was like less than 5 years ago. Like, that's ridiculous.
Nuts.
Yeah, so 1999 is when they stopped doing the testing, gender testing.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2020 is when they said, hey, maybe don't be homophobic.
Right. I don't understand it. It's like, the videos I've seen of people that are like transgender male, they look like a male, they are a male, but you want that male to go into the women's bathroom?
Right. Right. I don't understand. And someone commented on our Facebook, they wanted to know why this was, why transgender people were being barred from or restricted in competing in sports. And unfortunately, I couldn't really find a whole lot of research as to why that is or why they're treated differently aside from simply that they're transgender.
Yeah.
And they think it gives somebody an unfair advantage when they're a transgender female competing in female sports, which is not the case.
No, it's not. Like we said before, females can have extra testosterone, so what makes that different from a female with extra testosterone?
Right. And even just like females with, that don't have extra testosterone, a lot of people are just really good at sports. A lot of people are really athletic. That's not going to give somebody an unfair advantage. So, like, I don't understand what their thought process is here. Now, if it was something along the lines of a professional athlete competing against non-professional athletes, that might be an unfair advantage.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's strictly the difference in their athletic ability, not them as a person.
Yeah. Yeah. It really just comes down to people are homophobic and ignorant.
Yes.
I don't either.
I think it is strictly just the transgender part, though, like you said.
It is. Yeah, that's not like there's not really a basis for anything. It seems to be just because they don't like the fact that that person's transgender.
Yeah. And that one argument, I don't know if you've heard it before, but where people will argue just whether you're male, female, that if you're a female, you're automatically not as strong as a male. Like, that's such bullshit. If you work hard enough, you can be as strong as a male, or vice versa.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's again about, like, athletic ability. It's not necessarily, like, female, male, whatever, you know? It doesn't come down to your gender, it comes down to your physical abilities.
Exactly.
Which doesn't really have anything to do with gender.
Not at all. It's how hard you work, your body is going to be different than somebody else's, etc.
Yeah.
Do you remember Emaine Khalif? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. She was an Algerian professional boxer that people thought was like transgender or male, and she's totally not. Like,
yeah,
that made me so mad when it came out.
Yeah, I do remember that. That was ridiculous. Like, just because she looked a little different, like, doesn't mean anything.
Right, and she's still gorgeous in my opinion. I don't
She is.
understand what people's problems are.
People are just ignorant and stupid.
I even had people I know in real life, like, sharing the BS propaganda about her being a male or whatever, and I was just like, no, that's not. No, do your research.
Yeah. I think she has a condition or something that, like, makes her voice deeper.
I think she's just one of those with a little more testosterone.
That might be it, but people are so ignorant to things, and they see someone who's different, who doesn't, like, look like a female, like, in their sense of what a female should look like, and they automatically are like, that person's transgender and that person is less than because they're transgender, and it's not fair for them to be competing against other women because they're transgender. It doesn't make any sense, and do your fucking research. Like, it's not hard. You have a full-on computer in your pocket.
Really, though, and that one specifically, I brought that up because it made me mad, because it was like shared memes of just propaganda without even doing the research. Just sharing that's like, oh, she's a male, they shouldn't be able to compete in girls' sports. Like, what?
It's so dumb. So dumb. People are just stupid.
Anyways, at the time of writing this part of the script, it is now the
24th.
We are only 4 days into Trump's second presidency at the time this was written. And he has already taken away many DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. He has made plans to ensure that federal workers involved in DEI programs will be fired from their positions, and he has given agencies 30 days to do so. This will be affecting thousands of people over the next few weeks, as the head of the U.S. Office of Personnel Management has asked agency heads to submit their written plans of terminating employees by January 31st. Wow.
That was, yeah, I know that was a lot of information all in that, but it's so, I felt like this was so important to include in here
Yeah.
because this community is part of DEI. And I think this was what we were talking about earlier, the thing that the judge repealed because it was considered sex discrimination. So thankfully, this, part of this has been stopped. It's just so fucking insane.
It's literally like I was saying yesterday, I think. Like, women are part of that too. Like, I don't understand.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember if I included it in this part of the script, but it's also, he wanted to be able to fire pregnant women. Like, he wanted to take that out of, like, the discrimination in
Just want
workplaces.
jobless women popping out babies.
That's pretty much it. They're fucking turning us into the Handmaid's Tale.
Pretty much. Like, it's cliche, but true.
It's disgusting is what it is.
Yes.
Like, laughably disgusting. I know we keep laughing at some things in this, and it's not because it's funny, it's because it's absurd, and the absurdity of it is what's laughable.
Exactly. It's literally just disgusting. You kind of have to laugh so you don't cry.
Laughing and crying.
At the same time.
The memo regarding these terminations states that this should be done as soon as possible by telling these DEI employees that they are being laid off and put on paid leave pretty much immediately. Federal employees have even begun to receive emails stating that they could be facing adverse consequences if they do not comply with obscuring the DEI initiatives. Literally, people are being threatened if they don't comply with obscuring DEI programs.
It's not okay.
No. I feel like that's illegal.
You would think.
And along with his plans to take away the current DEI programs, he has even revoked DEI orders from the past that banned discrimination by federal contractors. Which, like, why? Why do you need to go that far back? Why does it matter? I just don't understand. Trump stated that he believes DEI programs are, quote, wasteful and radical, unquote, while he was signing these orders.
I am so tired of his rhetoric and saying that the other side is just spilling rhetoric when we're just spilling his lies, exposing the truth.
Yeah. We're sticking up for people. He's saying diversity, equity, and what was it? Diversity, equity,
inclusion.
And inclusion is wasteful.
Yep.
What part of that is wasteful? I don't understand.
I would like to understand what he thinks is wasteful about that, because I literally can't see how that is.
I just don't get it. He just, from that quote alone, saying that DEI programs are wasteful and radical, he just, like, diversity is how we get, like, different people in workplaces. Black, white, brown, whatever. LGBTQ, straight, equity, equal, inclusion, everybody's included.
Literally, like, everyone.
Yeah, and he's just saying that that's wasteful. Like, that, saying that things like that are wasteful, to me, it sounds like he just wants it to be the white men in there.
Which makes no sense, because you are included in the everyone. Like, why do you gotta mess it up for everyone else?
He's just crazy.
It's like the whole woke mind virus bullshit. You mean empathy? You mean caring and about another
Yeah,
human being?
yeah. We're not like, it's not even woke. Like, I don't even understand where that term came from. It's just simply standing up for other people and for our rights, like trying to do the right thing. And he's just trying to like take everything down.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, so this isn't related to the episode at all. I just want to bring it up because um, it reminded me when you said woke. It reminded me of this. Um, this happened a while ago, and it was at the shop. And a client had come in, and our barber was cutting their hair, and this guy was like describing the haircut that he wanted, and our barber goes, "Oh, so you want a fade?"
Mhm.
And the guy goes, "Fade? What's this woke term? What are you talking about? It's called like a taper or whatever." And John, our barber, literally was like, that's just what the haircut is called. That's what it's always been called. It's a fade." And this dude went off on a tangent about how like barbers are using like new woke terms and
Oh my god. Are you serious?
my guy, you are in you are you are in a chair getting your hair cut and you're calling a man woke
Mm-hmm.
because he used the proper term for your haircut.
You're in the wrong place, sir.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I hate it. It's like, it's not a woke mind virus. We're not
No.
mental. We just care about other humans.
Yeah, we just have empathy. We're not psychopaths.
That I'm speechless, sorry. Along with the termination of many federal positions, part of this order includes prompting federal workers to report their coworker who may work in these DEI roles. For a long time, it has been imperative that employers, whether they be federal, local, state, or private, do not hire or fire people based on sex, race, gender, religion, etc. Rolling these DEI programs back puts all of that in jeopardy. These were put in place to give everyone an equal opportunity in the workplace. But his administration is trying to say now that they are illegal and harmful programs.
So incredibly stupid. And again, a part of this was denied. A judge did say that you can't hire or fire people. Well, you can't fire people um, based off of their gender because that's sex discrimination. So thankfully, that part again is declined, taken away. But
Mm-hmm.
still, like the rest of this is on the line. I'm pretty sure. I haven't heard anything about anything else except for that.
Yeah, we still have a long way to go, but that is something at least.
Yeah, hopefully, hopefully more gets turned down. But this is just crazy.
I'm literally scared for myself and the people I know, and
Mm-hmm.
I know it's not going to affect me right away, but it still could, and that's
Mm-hmm.
terrifying.
Yeah, yeah. Thinking about like what the future could look like, how it could affect us, or just anybody in the future.
Mm-hmm.
That's horrifying.
It's also like the stark contrast between me as a woman and the males I know that aren't worried at all. It's
Mm-hmm.
like right there, that shows you. It shows you
Yeah,
everything.
that's the issue. That is the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Rolling back DEI programs is allowing federal employers to discriminate against sex, race, gender, age, religion, etc., again, just want to reiterate the sex and gender part. They did say that that was a no-no. Um, this is allowing them to discriminate against and essentially bully people for being transgender. The order that's allowing this is basically stating that agencies should deny transgender people for who they are, as well as threatening the freedom of self-determination and self-expression for everybody. The Supreme Court ruled in 2021 that discrimination against someone for being part of the LGBTQ plus community is considered sex discrimination under the Title VII of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. And they did uphold that. It is still considered sex discrimination, so he didn't get away with that part.
Good.
The executive order stating that this ruling should be applied to all laws prohibiting sex discrimination has now been rolled back. And then I think that part was incorrect. So that's my bad. Because they did just state that discrimination for gender is sex discrimination and not allowed. So that's still intact.
I'll say you probably wrote that just before.
I did, but still crazy. And it's also crazy to me too that in 2021 is when they ruled that discrimination against someone for being part of LGBTQ plus community is considered sex discrimination. In 2021, dude, that should have happened way sooner.
Yes. Like way, way sooner.
Yeah. Just the amount of things that happened very recently to give people of this community like basic rights is like how some of these literally just happened in 2020, 2021. Like, it's insane. 1999.
Mm-hmm. From so long ago until now, and then only a couple years of it actually being okay for them. That's not enough.
Yeah. It's crazy. I was just thinking about, too, how it wasn't even that long ago that gay marriage was legalized. Like, what year was that? I think we were in high school.
I was going to say, I believe we were in middle school or high school. I think it was high school. And we graduated in 2013, so it wasn't that long ago.
No, not that long ago at all. And that's also insane to me that it took so long. But then now that's at stake too.
I remember being so excited for that, like when it happened.
I was too. I think I was home for that day, and like I remember I told my mom, like I ran into the kitchen and told my mom, and I think I texted you.
I think so. I don't remember what I was doing that day. I just remember being really excited about that.
Yeah, I just remember like being so excited, so happy about that. But then at the same time, it's like, holy shit, why did it take so long for that to happen?
Yeah, and why is that even a thing? Why can't just everyone who wants to get married, unless, your family? That's just gross.
That's weird. Yeah, that should be illegal. That's weird. There's very few marriages that I'm aware of that I think should be illegal, and that's like child marriage, forced marriage, and family marriage. Like, those are all no-nos to me.
Exactly, and I feel like that should be for everyone. Like,
yeah, none of it involves whether or not someone's part of the community, this community. Like, who cares? It's like I said earlier, if you don't like gay marriage, don't get gay married.
Right. It's not causing problems, unlike family marriage actually can have problems down the line if you have kids and stuff. Like,
Oh, so many problems. Just look at the fucking royals from like years ago. Well,
mm-hmm.
I think the royals are still inbred, but
I'm not sure.
maybe not as much anymore. But because I mean, their ancestors were there's a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
But oh god, like years ago, that was like the thing to do because they thought they had to keep the royal blood in the family, and that's disgusting.
And that's literally like the only reason why. Like, if it didn't do that and it wasn't hurting nobody, like, it'd still be gross to me, but do your thing. But no, if it's gonna hurt your kids, it's,
Yeah, no. It's just weird.
I mean, I have no interest in that. That's gross.
Yeah, no. No.
Yes. It was perfect. People have been fighting for decades and opposing defining gender based solely on a person's biology. There are some states still that use the biological definitions of gender to discriminate against transgender people. These recent laws have led to extremely invasive and traumatizing situations for transgender people so that the states can determine who counts as a man or a woman. Unfortunately, children have been targeted as well for being suspected to be transgender, as they sometimes don't follow sex stereotypes. With the new endorsement of the overly simplistic definitions of gender, it seems they have ignored the existence of intersex individuals, as well as anyone else with variations in sex characteristics.
It just makes
mad.
It just makes me think of like I'm very much not like a girly girl. I literally just shaved my head today. I have a mohawk again.
Nice.
And like I wear like band t-shirts. I wear like funny t-shirts. I have a serial killer t-shirt that I'm on right now, and it's a bowl of cereal.
That's amazing.
And like half the time, 99% of the time, I don't wear makeup. Like I'm not a very girly person. I think I look a little bit more masculine, and it's just, like I've gotten confused for a male so many times.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
And I just like, why do we have to assume things about people just because they look one way or the other? Like I definitely identify very much as a female, but I don't fit, I think, the image or stereotypes of a female in a lot of people's minds.
Right. Same here. Like, I think because my long hair, it's more noticeable. But I have very masculine, like, hands, and I'm tall.
Yeah. And I just don't get, like, why people are discriminated against because of that.
I don't know. Like, I don't wear makeup or any of that stuff either. I just throw on whatever that's comfy.
Yeah. And it's not to say anything against, the females out there that are girly girls. Like, that's totally fine, do you. That's just not how I'm comfortable. That's how other people are comfortable. Totally fine. I get
More
it.
power to you if you do all that. Yeah. I'm terrible at makeup and stuff. I wish I was good at it.
It's just, someone shouldn't be considered less of a female or less of a male because of their characteristics or the way that they are comfortable dressing or looking. Like, someone should be able to identify as male or female because that's how they identify themselves.
Exactly. And it drives me nuts because it's usually, and I am sorry, but I'm not sorry, very unattractive males that seem to think the female is not pretty enough or something. Like,
Yeah.
Trump is
Yeah.
one of the most ugliest men I've ever seen, but he seems to think that women are just not pretty enough.
Oh no. He thinks he's hot shit.
Yeah, he said he was prettier than Kamala.
Ew.
Like, no, you are one of the, like, I'm not even judgmental like that either, but you are one of the ugliest person I've ever seen.
And it's not just about like the appearance though too. He's an ugly person on the inside.
Absolutely.
And I very much believe being an ugly person on the inside is going to present outwardly, and you're going to be ugly as a whole person.
It makes you ugly. Like, not even just appearance, like you said.
Yes. Even if he was like conventionally attractive male, because of how ugly he is, how ugly of a person he is on the inside, he would still be ugly.
Oh yeah.
Like, it shouldn't have anything to do with appearance.
No. He's literally just a shitty human, and it leaks.
Yes. And it bugs me so much that that's how so many people think, is that your appearance has a lot to do with whatever, because it's not that important. It should be about the person you are inside.
Exactly. It's like the one girl, Amain, brought up earlier. I think she's gorgeous, but because people don't see her in that light, in their own vision of what a beauty standard is, she's too masculine or too this.
Yeah. People are just ignorant and stupid, like I keep saying.
Mm-hmm. Wish I had a nickel for every time we said that.
Oh my god, I know. We'd be rich by now off of this episode alone. While it is unclear how long it will take for some of these orders to take effect, there is no doubt that this administration will try their hardest to get things moving ASAP, as they already are.
Mm-hmm.
They are threatening people's jobs and livelihoods, all because of the gender that somebody chooses to identify as.
It's just insane.
Yeah. Sad.
At the time this episode is released, we will be roughly 1 week into the presidency, and already so much has been taken away and threatened. Now is really the time to stand up for each other and protect each other. We need each other now more than ever.
Yes. I just call people out on their bullshit. Like, if you're comfortable doing it, of course, like, don't, force yourself into uncomfortable situations, but
or unsafe situations.
Or unsafe situations, yes. If you can, if you're comfortable with it and it's safe to do so, stand up against other people. Call them on their bullshit. Provide them with, facts and stuff. And I think in every episode or every upload, we've also posted the links to our references.
Yeah.
So, you can, feel free to use those. That's where I get, all the research for the show. Stand up to people.
And we try and do, most trusted resources, too, that we can.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Unfortunately, there are some sites out there that have been taken down by Trump because they don't fit his rhetoric. And it just so happens to be, some of the stuff that we would probably use on the show. But I think for the most part, the sites that I've used are all up, and they're all reputable sources too. So
I'm worried for the day that all we have is Fox News.
Oh my god, I know. Jesus Christ. And as a reminder, we do this podcast to spread word on what's happening and to help spread knowledge and to speak up for the voiceless. A lot of people have been shut down trying to do things for themselves or for other people, and the
Mm-hmm.
podcast is the way that we can kind of reach out to people in our community and outside of our community,
Mm-hmm.
um, which I think is really cool, that we've been able to reach people outside of um, our community. I looked on our Facebook followers the other day, and there's people from other states that
Oh
follow
wow,
us.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that. That's cool.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, and we just want to let everyone know that this truly is a safe space. That's why we called this podcast The Safe Space, because we wanted it to be a place where people can reach out to us and share stories and experiences and just feel comfortable connecting with us and with the other people in our community.
Right. And I do want to say it is not a safe space for someone who likes Nazis, but other than
No.
that,
If you're a Nazi, you can get the fuck out.
it's definitely a safe space for people that want to learn and stuff, like we've said before. And just if you don't have anyone, listen to us. Eventually, I think we want this to grow enough to actually be able to help people in real life, like not
Mhm.
just a podcast.
Yeah, I think the bigger picture is to, I don't know, I guess like don't we haven't really talked about it a whole lot, but I know for sure we've talked about donating to, charities that are helping people in like refugee situations, or like what else did we talk about? Helping women get health care for
Mm-hmm.
abortions and things like that, and just healthcare in general. But um, yeah, for right now we've got small humble startings, but we're getting there. We've got big goals for the show, and I think it's really neat that we have the amount of supporters that we do right now, and it's not a ton, but we're getting somewhere. We've got a good start.
Yeah, it's something, and it's really cool that we can do this. Like, not
Hmm.
everyone has the option to or the means.
Yeah.
And use your spark to help us ignite the flame to unite our allies. You can share stories, experiences, articles, videos, or whatever else by emailing us at thesafepod@outlook.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Links are all in our link tree, which will be in the description.
And thank you all so much for continuing to listen and support the podcast. We really, truly do appreciate it. We look forward to hearing from you guys, and we'll see everyone in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.